Okay. Like Haley said, the best way to learn it is by doing it. So we are going to go through a few different use cases today, really showcasing some of the really awesome workflow features and how to do them, how to read them. So the one that I chose for our example today is a survey. I'm sure no matter what industry you are in, you have a survey of some kind, whether it's a customer or a client feedback survey or an employee survey. So that's what we're going to start with today. Really, the question that we want to answer is, let's say we want different things to happen based on if we have a good survey result or a bad survey result. And the way we're going to do that is we have a form that has a hidden calculated field that's going to calculate a score based off of how they answer questions, and then a yes/no question based on their follow-up preferences. Now, this is not hypothetical. I am definitely going to show you this form, so don't worry. But then we are going to create conditional pathways that really have different things happen, right? We want a different message to show. Whether it's considered a good or a bad survey result. We want different follow-ups. So that's what we're going to be creating today. I'm going to start off by sharing our basic feedback form. I'm going to say those scary words, which are, I'm going to share my screen here. All right. So we've got our basic feedback survey, which has, a save and resume enabled. We've got generic contact details here. And then we have a series of 10 different questions rated 1 through 10. And if I start answering these questions, boop, 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 beautiful, it was great, we can see that this hidden, and I'm using air quotes, you can't see them, hidden survey score is going to determine, what that total is depending on how they answer their questions. Ideally, right, in real life, this would actually be hidden. You wouldn't want your respondents to see this part, but for you guys, I want you to be able to see it. And then we have a question here about, would you like to be contacted about your experience? And that's going to come into play later. So this is the form we're going to start with. We're going to go into our FormAssembly account where we can go to the left-hand side and just click New Workflow. We're going to start with a blank workflow. And ta-da, we are in our workflow interface. It looks a bit different from your regular interface, but that's okay. We'll just give it a quick little title here. I'm going to call it title. Oh gosh, I'm starting off early. Can't type. That's going to be fun. Okay, so we're going to call it title. I'm going to go ahead and click save. That way our options open up on the left-hand side here. With a workflow, you do have to start with a form. So what we're going to do is, since we already created our feedback form, we are just going to import it into our workflow. So I'm just going to select the form. You can see that whenever I select something from our workflow visual here, it does open up a properties panel on the right. And that's where we're actually going to configure and set up everything for that step. My general best practice is, once you create a step, just go tab by tab to make sure that you have everything configured fully. For this, I'm just going to call this step name the survey step. There we go. I'm going to click configure. This is where I actually choose my form. This is the survey. All right. This is where things start getting pretty cool. This is where you can actually import settings that you already have configured on your form level. So this is that save and resume. I could choose to enable that. I could do a form level Salesforce connector or my thank you pages or notifications. For this example, I'm just going to import our save and resume, hit confirm. And we can see that it went ahead and built out those steps for me. Now we get into what I really like to call reading the workflow or reading the process. And if you take anything from this call, please let it be that this is a very important part of building out your workflow. And that's just going step by step and reading what's happening. So we're going to do that a couple times during our process in this use case, but also in the next one that Haley's going to show you. So we've got our initial survey step. If they click save and resume, they're going to go down the right-hand pathway here, where we have the form save confirmation page, the confirmation email that they receive saying, hey, click the link to resume your form. And then once they click the link to resume their form, we have this go to step, which will send them back up to the top to continue their survey. And when they actually hit submit, they're going to go down the left-hand path to whatever we determine is next. What we can see is anytime we want to add a step, you just go to your little blue plus sign. That could be anywhere where that blue plus sign is available on your workflow. But what do we want? What do we want next? Remember, our use case is if it's a good survey, we want it, certain messaging. If we want a different messaging for a bad survey. So I'm just going to click add step. And I apologize, I know it's tiny, so I'm going to zoom in as much as possible, but also know that you're going to get this recording. So if you'd like to recreate this on your own, you can absolutely follow along with that recording. All right, first thing, we are going to select a conditional pathway. You can see that's what branches off. It's very similar to conditional logic on your form level, except we are sending down different pathways as opposed to showing different questions. So what we can do here, I'm going to go ahead and add another path. Remember, we add a step and then we configure it. That's the word. We configure it on the right-hand side. So path 1, we're going to click configure, and I'm just going to say, this is the good survey, smiley face. Very good. Then we define our rules. And in this case, that's going to be that hidden calculated field. So I'm just going to go to my form field. I'm going to choose that survey score. In this case, I'm going to say is greater than or equal to, let's call it 80. And if we needed additional rules, we could add those here, but we don't. So we're going to go to path 2, where we say this is bad. Oh, sad face. Bad survey, they didn't have a good time. So we will do the same thing. We'll go to our form field. We're going to select the survey score. And this time we're going to say is less than or equal to 79. So anything 79 or below is going to go down this bad pathway. Now you might be saying, Lindsay, you keep saying path 1, path 2, good, bad, but I see 3 pathways. You would be correct. I'm not here to gaslight you. You are seeing 3 pathways. And that's because we have this one at the end called no conditions met. And I like to use no conditions met as more of like a fail safe. Something weird happens with the calculation, or they refresh weird, or something strange happens, right? We probably just want to, we could add a step here and add a page redirect that just says, oops, something went wrong. Please refresh and try again, or please contact this person, right? So we could have a message set there. Most likely no one's ever going to go down this pathway, but it is there just in case. I also sometimes use it as kind of like a yes-no pathway, which you'll see later in our example. Okay, now let's start determining, I'm gonna click save, just so I don't forget, there we go. We are going to determine what do we want to happen when they go down the good pathway. So they had a really good time. Let's say we want them to get a thank you message. So this is the good thank you. If I click configure, hey, thanks so much for your feedback. We really appreciate it. Always know that we're here for you, and be on the lookout for an email from us that contains a coupon. Yeah, maybe we want to send them a coupon for their feedback. What we could then do is we can add a step, and we have our email step, so our outgoing email step here. Let's call this our coupon email. We hit configure. And we want to make sure that this coupon email goes to the person who filled out this survey. So what we would do is we go to our little function friend, our little formula F right here. We go into our fields, and then we choose the email field. What that's going to do is pull the what's called the alias for that specific field. And whatever email is put into that field is where this email is going to go. From there, you can have different sender emails. You can adjust the email subject line. You could attach a PDF of the form response, or in Haley's example, you'll see that you can attach like custom document generation steps here. And then you can customize the email content. So maybe you want to add their first name, so customize it to whatever makes the most sense for you. But then let's say we also want to notify our team that we have a survey. We could just add another step, and we can add another email step. So we can have more than one email step in each pathway. We're just going to do the same thing. Let's call this the team email. Sorry guys, I can't, it's fine. Who cares? Okay, so going into configure here, again, you're just going to send it to, you would change it to the team. Maybe this time you want to attach the survey step, and then you can keep going with your email content. Beautiful. Now that's what we want to happen if it is a good survey result. Let's go ahead and now determine what we want to happen if it's a bad survey result. And we all know bad isn't bad. Bad just means feedback, but it makes more sense to explain it this way. So let's say that we want more information from this respondent. So they fill out this survey step, and if they have had a bad experience, we want to ask them additional questions. So what we may do if I click add step is maybe I add another form that has those questions on it. So I just add our form step, I hit configure. In this case, I'm just going to add my survey form again, but you would ideally have your next steps questions. You can import those settings if you'd like. And then, like I said, we go tab by tab. But wait, there's 2 additional tabs. You're right. Anytime you have a subsequent form or any form that comes after the first form, you get these really awesome secondary tabs. The first one is assignment. And so that's saying, hey, who needs to fill out this second form? By default, it is set to assign to previous form respondent. And what that means is whoever filled out this form is going to be filling out this form. And if there is no redirect on the pathway in between the first form and second form, the user experience really is just that it's the next page of the form. So that's kind of what the respondent is going to see, which makes it really nice. That makes it feel like they're not going down any type of different pathway. They're just answering the next questions. For other use cases, you may want to assign a secondary form with a specific email address, maybe sending it to the manager of the team, or you can assign dynamically with a form field. So kind of how we pulled the email field for the email step, we can do that the same with our form assignment. And with that, the last tab that we also have is the form to form prefill. So if we wanted to take information from this first form and just pop it into this second form, all we have to do is map them. So instead of having to send it to another endpoint and pull it back, you just add that in. Cool. So now that I saved again, I am going to see what we want to do next. All right, so we sent the basic feedback. We have the secondary information. Now, if you remember, we have that other question, right? That would you like to be contacted about your experience? What we can do is now add another conditional here So we branch again. So we branched and then we branched again. And then we just create the pathways that say configure here. Yes, please contact. And then the no conditions met will function as they did not select yes, meaning they selected no, and they do not want to be contacted. So again, we just define our rules. Sorry, I keep saying again, I caught myself. I guess that's the word of the day. So here, again, we just use our form field. I'm going to scroll and then I'm going to choose the would you like to be contacted about your experience? We'll say equals and yes. Then what do we want to happen if they select yes? Most likely, we want them to receive a specific page redirect. So we give them their thank you page. We say, thank you so much for your feedback. A member of our team will be in touch within the next 2 business days. That's the page redirect that they will get. And then we need to notify the team that they need to reach out and schedule a time to get in touch or call this customer. So we'll just choose email, and then we would just send it to the team. And then if they do not want to be contacted, maybe we just send them a different thank you message. So add that page redirect and say, thank you for your feedback. We greatly value it, and that's how we get better. And also, we're always here for you. Whatever you want that page redirect to say. And then you just continue, right? So everything that we've gone through here, you just continue to do to make it fit your process. So if, for example, you collect survey results in Salesforce, you could easily come up to the very top here and add a Salesforce connector. So you could come in and you could add a connector step. You could add a Salesforce connector where you find the contact from the contact information and then create a new CSAT record, or whatever your process dictates, you can customize with this workflow process.